different but similar, from high-stakes environments to the beautiful chaos of civilian life. This is Catalyst Comms, anything and everything. Supervision not included.
Dan, you think what I'm thinking?
That we're going to take over the fashion industry and promote CC wear.
Oh, I like that in a pair of Lululemon leggings with CC's on my cheeks. But what are we doing tonight?
We are sitting down with a little ball fighter. I think she is 6 foot tall when she puts on her Louis Vuitton shoes.
Louboutin, not Louis.
Whatever. Same fucking difference.
Yes, we're doing a podcast with Devi.
Welcome back to Catalyst Comms, anything and everything, where we dig into real people's stories. Today we are joined by the #1 fan of
Louboutin
herself, Devi Novick.
Yes. Yeah, this is season 2, episode 2, where we're peeling back the onion on what it takes to battle through the sole ownership of your path in life. Devi and I worked together on the Stennis many years back. While she still sheds responsibility for the kale institution that she put in place on our meals, I think she was secretly mad at Jiko and I, and that's why she played it out that way. So, nah, just kidding, Devi. How are you doing?
Great. How are you guys?
Outstanding, outstanding. Dan, how are you?
I'm pretty good, but before we get going and we had this discussion, explain Jaco.
I'm not describing Jaco.
Most people, is it a position? Is
it's
it a person?
Joint Interface Control Officer.
That's all you have to say.
But okay. Jaco is a name. It's like calling him Davey.
Oh my God. Okay, anyways, Davey, you ready?
Let's start ready.
With a quick snapshot of who Davey is. Davey, the mic is all yours.
Oh, okay, great. Well, I did 20 years in the Navy. I was a CS. I made chief. I retired in 2022. And since then, I really haven't been doing much, but just trying to be on this journey of self-awareness and self-discovery. And that comes with doing puzzles and playing with animals and reading and doing a lot of relaxing.
You just described Phil.
That's...
Wait. I'm such an old lady now.
I don't read.
Don't let him lie. I go like last night. I went over there, picked him up. He's in the chair, crocheting. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yes, I would love to learn how to crochet. My nails won't allow it though.
Speaking of nails, if we want to go old lady stuff, Mr. Man here, the guy that takes me to get a pedicure because he does it every month because he doesn't want to cut his own toenails. Tell me about being an old lady.
Who enjoyed?
I did enjoy it.
You see?
Who said they were going to do it again?
I will do it.
Yes, don't knock it till you try it.
Don't talk to me anymore.
I will get the gel. Hey, all right.
Hold up. I just got to say one thing.
Brief.
I want to say one thing real quick. You got appointment?
You got appointment? Oh. Hey, so we talked a little bit before this, but you described a very tough relationship with your family growing up. If you don't mind, can you describe that and set the stage for your story?
Yeah, absolutely. So my mom was cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, right? So she was on her 7th marriage when she died, and she died literally the day that I retired. And I think she did that on purpose, but we did not have a great relationship. And I stopped talking to her when I joined the Navy. And so we didn't talk for the entire time that I did join the Navy, or that I was in the Navy. And then I saw her right before she died because she was ill, and I went with my sister to see her as moral support. So we moved around a lot as well. And that had nothing to do with anyone in my family being in the military. I was the only one that joined, but lots of precursors to set me up to join. So I moved all around as a kid, but I settled down in Seattle, finished out high school there, joined the Navy out of Seattle. My sister still resides there. And I think stepdad number 4 or 5 still resides there. So when I go home, that's where I go.
Yeah, fair.
Hold on, I'm so confused. Do you go to stepfather 1 or which one?
Yeah, he was the stepdad who I consider my dad. I think he was number 4 or 5. I'm not sure. I'd have to really think about that. But he was number 4 or 5. He came in when I was 13 or 15 or something. And then he was always the one to be there for my boot camp graduation. He pinned my anchors. He was there for, he pinned my air pin on me. He was there for what do we call it? Tiger Cruise. I'm like losing all of the jargon.
That's a good sign,
Yeah.
by the way.
Yeah. So he's my dad. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Hey, so you described working at 14 years old, and by your senior year of high school, you were entirely on your own. Looking
Yes.
back, how did that early need for absolute self-reliance shape the person who walked into the recruiting station at that time?
I think there was, well, I don't remember how I got to the recruiting station since being on my own at a very early age. And not by choice, by the way, like my mom kicked me out. And so, um, I think there was probably a self-conscious, not self-conscious, a subconscious need to figure out what to do with my life, to figure out how to be self-sustaining, to figure out how to get income consciously. I couldn't tell you how the military was that answer, but yeah, that's how I think that absolutely shaped my need and desire to be somewhere where there was also structure and things that I held near and dear to my heart anyway. Like I was very structured growing up, so it just kind of fit.
Yeah. I'm not sure many people know they need the Navy until they have the Navy, and then they
Yeah.
realize they needed it. Maybe I think I'm one of those type of people too, because my decision was made around money. My mom couldn't
Yeah.
send me to school. I couldn't afford it, and she's a single parent, so I, rather than put her in debt, made the choice to go into the military. She didn't like the decision. She cried, but
Yeah.
the funny thing is, both my parents, my grandparents, everybody has been extremely proud of the
Yeah.
path that I led, and that's I didn't know. I didn't know that's what
Right.
the outcome was going to be. And 31 years later, guess what?
Yeah.
But I think
Yeah, it's
that's
kind of intense like that. Like I didn't have anybody, like I said, no one in my family joined. So I wasn't exposed to that. I didn't have the high school
yeah,
experience either where they came to my school and spoke. So I really don't know how I ended up there. But either way, here we are.
yep, exactly.
So it's funny, yeah. My dad was in. I didn't join until I was 20. I think maybe deep
Ah,
down there was desire, to meet Phil one day, and I just didn't know it.
That's what it was.
So I just
predestined, right? Yeah, you just had this yearning in your heart.
I did, and it was finally filled and completed.
I'm like his Louboutin.
Yes, you complete me.
I need you to hold my flip flop up in front of you.
That's hilarious. I'm dying.
Realize I don't have shoes on.
Huh.
Well, actually, what I realize is you and I are dressed normal. Look, she's got on makeup, nice shirt. She's like trying to outshine us.
I told you she'd make us look bad.
Oh man. So you ready for the next question?
Yeah, let's hear it.
So far, so good. Not too nervous.
I'm like shaking inside, but
I
that's
mean,
just me. That is
I'm
totally just me.
I'm kind of glad you're not here because, like, when we did our interview with you, now you mentioned your nails. Every time you pop them up, I'm just like, man, if she stabbed us, we would die.
Yeah, that's why people say it like, see, like, how do you form a fist or why do you have them? And you go like this, and then you like, see, that's how it.
We're gonna need you to have your fiance send his information so we can have a talk with him real quick.
Yeah.
Watch out for him
Trust
on
me,
the
the
list.
cheese nuts already grabbed him up here. Like as soon as they saw him, they grabbed him up and was like, I don't know what they talked about, but they grabbed him up.
That's funny.
So, anyways, you mentioned Navy was a massive culture shock. So,
Yes.
5-2 rotations and cooking for massive crowds.
Yeah.
What was the hardest part of adapting to the scale of operation or trying to find your footing as a young sailor?
I think the Navy was probably a culture shock for everyone, right? When you join, it's a culture shock because you just have no idea what you're really getting into. And so, I had been out of high school for maybe a year or about a year when I joined. And so, the freedom to wear what I want, the freedom, like I was getting up so much earlier, and like having to be somewhere on time that wasn't the hard part. It was getting up at that hour.
Fair.
And, I'll tell you, out of 20 years, I was only late to anywhere 3 times. And I could tell you exactly those 3 times that I was late. I was only late 3 times in my entire career. But getting up that early and doing something that I had never ever done before. I had no desire to be a cook. I had no idea how to cook. I never had any type of aspiration to be some chef or to like take that and do something great with it. I had none of that existed to me. So I was kind of like, whoa. And then all of the rules that are following cooking and then all of the paperwork that goes along with it. And I was like, oh, I have to work on weekends. Like this happens. And oh, I have to come back to work every single day. And then I'm staying there until forever. And it's only, on shore duty, it's not as bad, but obviously when you're out to sea, where are you going to go?
Yeah.
So they're like, that's the time where those late night cleaning sessions are coming in and suppo's coming around and your chief is coming around and all these inspections all the time always have to happen. So yeah, I would, like I said, I was on my own for a very long time, and all I ate when I was growing up was like cereal and scrambled eggs, and which is a miracle that I even survived. But like for going from that to like learning how to use an oven and using how like cooking in the kettles and like cooking on a saucepan and stuff was just like, whoa. So I don't even remember the question anymore.
I think you answered it.
Did I answer it?
You did.
Well, I mean, so a couple things. Give the audience, because again, a lot of these people aren't military too. What's a 5 and 2 so they understand that?
Oh yeah, so it's a rotating schedule, and so it's 2 on, 2 off, 3 on, 2 off, 2 on, 3 off. So every other weekend you have off.
Gotcha.
And so it's a rotating schedule like that. And I think us in the MAs might be the only ones that are on like a 5 and 2. And I think other people have their own rotating schedule. But
yeah, engineers typically have their own, and then the rest of the ship's crew has theirs. Like for me, for instance, and it's funny you say that, you said some key things. On the baton when I was on there, large deck amphib naturally too.
yeah,
But I was ship's company, the Royal Navy. Anyways,
there you go. There you go.
when I had CDO, command duty officer, and everything else, I'd piss off the other officers because, especially on the weekends or holidays, the CS, the CSs are there, and basically they end up cooking only for like 6 of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like midday, I'd be like, I said, hey, I don't care, throw in a fucking pizza, put it in the warmers, and get lost.
Yeah.
And the other officers, the more junior officers would be like, that's messed up. I'd be like,
I know.
I'd be like, are you kidding me? I'm like, you can't deal with this. But the plus factor was, and I've told Phil this numerous times when we were underway. I mean, we're, on our cruise and everything else. I'd come up through the line anytime, and the CSs love me so much. They'd be like, hey, Lieutenant Clark, we made this for the captain of the Commodore. You want some? And all the other officers are like, look at me, and I'm like, yeah.
Yep.
I literally, I'm not lying. That's why I want to emphasize. I took so much care of those guys. There was like 2 or 3 of them. They'd make chocolate chip cookies in the middle of the day, and they'd bring me down 6, all the way down to the cess. My guys were like, I'd be like, hey, take care of the CS and you're good to go.
That CSs are one of the rates you have to be nice to, because it'll make or break your time. Like you're either going to get slop or you're going to get that secret sauce that we put away for the admiral or the captain.
What secret sauce?
Yeah, like literally or figuratively. So like it really just depends. Like you have to be in good with us to get that homemade pizza, to get those cookies, to get that sandwich made. and without an attitude. I think that's the biggest one.
Yeah, let's be clear. They had to be nice to me too, because I was the one that set up their computers in their little office.
100%. Yeah, it's a
I gave you a
transactional
5.2,
thing.
didn't I?
Totally transactional.
Yeah. So I got a quick question to move on though, because you were talking about learning to cook and all that stuff. I didn't learn this until talking to most of the officers we had in the supply and on that side were all Mustangs on the baton.
Yeah.
Talking to them, I didn't realize that, you guys went to like specialized cooking schools too, where they were explaining stuff to me, where they were like, I went there to specifically learn how to do this cuisine. I was like, kind of like someone else going to Carnegie Mellon.
Oh, okay. I lived in CMU's backyard. Oh, that's really cool. Yeah, so not every CS has that opportunity. Not every command gives that opportunity. To be an enlisted aide, which is what I was, which is how I met Phil, I had the opportunity to go to a 5-week course where they did teach you stuff like that, where they taught you how to be an enlisted aide, putting uniforms together, cooking for obviously a family versus an entire ship or an entire staff. And then, there are specialty schools, cake decorating, different types of things. But that's so few and far between. Like very few CSs, at least in my experience, got that opportunity.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, and I think this question ties everything together. I mean, the working at 14 as well as the work as a CS, but you seemingly are a deeply regimented, responsible, and accountable person. That's my takeaway from the discussions we've had. In what ways did that rigid structure of the Navy life feel like a natural fit for that personality, even when the environment itself was overwhelming?
I think you can always find calm in routine, right? Because that's going to happen. Yeah.
Consistency. I love it.
Yeah, I think there's a comfort there. There's a calm there, at least for me. Like how my brain works is like, if I know something's coming, if I know I can do it, and at least if I know I can excel in that one thing, and whether that's making my bed, whether that's, making my coffee every morning, or whatever routine you had, like however you put your uniform on every day, like whatever routine that made up for you, that's happening, you can do that good. And so if that even just set the tone for like a good day, then, I think that's how that works. But also, being a junior sailor, there were lots, well, I say lots, there were 2, maybe 3 very trivial points in my career where I persevered out of like major setbacks. And I think I just had this drive to constantly prove people wrong, right? That you got me wrong, you got me all messed up. Like you expected one thing, you didn't get it. So now you're upset. So you treat me bad. But then I don't, like, work-wise, and my work ethic and how I perform will never be in question. And that hurt people in a way, because you thought you could get at me, but you can't, because like my evals are going to reflect that.
Yep.
And I never cared about evals like at all, but it was one of those things, like I was just a performer. Like I just had a drive to constantly prove people wrong. It got really old really quick, but that was just like the thing that was like I knew was coming every single command, that someone was going to have it out for me and I was going to have to prove these people wrong. And whether I manifested that to be true or whether that just kind of happened on its own, I don't know. But that's exactly how every single command played out.
So I think that goes back to character, because I mean, Phil and I have talked about that, and same thing for me, but obviously a little bit different. Because I mean, I just walked in like I owned the place, regardless of who the senior person was in the room.
Except for when I was there.
Whatever. But anyways, what I'm getting at is, when you're doing the right thing and you're doing your best, people don't like that. People, have other views of that, ass kiss and everything else. But, people don't like looking bad too. I mean, coming up through the ranks, there was numerous times people are like, hey, don't do that. You're making the rest of us look bad. I'd be like, hey, you do you, I'll do me. that type of thing. But another thing you said, and I think it goes good with the military that can be applied. It's the baseline, but we train and go over our stuff so much it becomes second nature.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what you described. And I think that's a hard part for the commercial side to understand. And again, that's why, going back to what you said, we don't freak out during emergencies, things like that. It becomes second nature. In fact, most of the time when we're done, people are like, "How'd you do that?" And I go, "Do what?"
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, you run toward the fire.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, right. And I mean, it helped that I was a very organized individual, even as a kid, right? All of my stuff was always organized. Like, my room was always clean, organized. My clothes were hung up, like, always planned out my outfits the day before, had my alarm set, knew exactly what I was going to do. And I don't know why I was that way, but it helped a lot going into the Navy, where everything was still very structured, just a little bit more so. So it wasn't, that part wasn't a huge culture shock because I liked that way anyway.
Yeah. Now, I think I parallel those thoughts. I'm the same way as a kid. Military didn't change much for me, just maybe enhanced it, if anything. But you said something very interesting that, okay, so everybody's always described me as being OCD. And I know there is a little touch of that. You throw it on the table, it drives me nuts. But yeah, whatever. I'm middle of the road on the spectrum on the right-hand side. But no, the thing that I took away that you just said, and I'm going to take this one to heart, was find a calm in that. It is actually something that I've never said to myself, but you're 100% right, is that I find a calmness in the routine, the consistency of doing things in a routine, or keeping things the way they are. And doing that, I don't have a high level of anxiety or anything. My anxiety happens when somebody moves my damn shampoo bottle.
Yes.
It's not that bad, but it can be.
Yeah. When something changes, right, that messes up your whole thing. So yeah, I think there's absolutely comfort in routine.
Yep.
There is, especially when you're sitting next to somebody who's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. I'm going to use that, by the way, from now on. So.
Oh yeah, please do. I got a few of them you can have.
It made your artwork. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I was about to say, I'm so glad you guys included the Cocoa Puffs box.
You said that so many times. I was like, "There's a box of Cocoa Puffs going in there." So
yes.
I was able to do that. So it's funny, you say that, and we'll go to the next question in a minute. Is ironically, I ran 2 restaurants before I joined the Navy.
Yeah.
So cooking and stuff like that, even in the Navy and even out the Navy when I was working for the civilian side, I think that's where I struggle now a little bit. You throw me in chaos, I'm happy.
Yeah.
It's when things are dull and boring and routine where I'm like, I get sloppy, and don't do what I should do. And I mean, so the only other thing I want to throw at you real quick is obviously you've changed that routine since you retired, because I don't know if everyone could see, but your room is a mess right now. We could see.
Yeah, there's stuff everywhere.
I'm just messing with you. All we see is a big pink chair.
Yes.
You get curtains in the back.
They're pink too.
Oh yeah, the pink curtains. There's a puzzle that I did. Yeah, see?
My daughter would love it.
I know. So throughout your career, you felt like you were hated, like you've talked about.
Yeah.
Or faced distinct friction at every command.
Every single
which you thought might be tied to your stature or being a woman in that space, just we talked. How did you maintain your work ethic and focus when the leadership climate felt consistently hostile or toxic?
I think that was the only thing that I had going for me, right? You couldn't question my work ethic. If people wanted to feel some type of way about me for whatever reason, that's fine. That's an internal battle they have to fight with themselves. But the one thing you couldn't fight with me on is my work ethic, that I was never late. I always showed up. I always did my job. My uniform was always immaculate. I was always going to be performing. And so you can't question that. You can't, because everyone sees that.
Right.
And so whatever happens behind closed doors, whatever people said to me, whatever interpretations that I made or that other people had or whatever, you are never, ever, ever going to take away my work ethic.
Yep.
No, that's good, and that's being true to
Hold on,
yourself.
I'm going to fact check her. You said you were not late, but we've proven that you've been late 3 times.
Yes.
Well,
not at one command. Not at one
do
command.
that too.
3 times
in
through
the
my
interview,
career.
she admitted, when she was doing a board, her pants didn't fit. She had it covered up. So I mean, hey. But here's the thing.
I haven't got to that part yet.
We covered that. So she's good. No one addressed it.
It was a joking fact check. Come on. Hey, so kind of expanding on that a little bit, you served under a commanding officer who was a prior culinary specialist as well.
Yes.
He was exceptionally hard on you, toxic to the chief's mess, and eventually faced an Article 32 preliminary hearing. What did the extreme situation teach you about the kind of leader you did not want to become?
I think by that point, I was already pretty confident in who I wanted to be as a leader, right? Because I had made chief.
Yeah.
I had spent that time harnessing my leadership skills, learning what I wanted out of a chief, out of a leader. And so when I go to him, I was really struggling with my leadership style and his, right? Because he just, every turn I took, he stonewalled me. And so I really wanted to be, my whole thing was to be a firm but fair leader, right? Yeah. Everyone gets the same treatment. Everyone gets the same considerations. I know that was looked poorly on probably halfway through my career because the sensitivity training and you can't talk to everybody the same and yada, yada. But I CYA by making sure that I talk to everyone the same because then there was no inconsistency with me. And so I thought, a fair but firm thing. And it was, you were going to be in uniform. As long as it said U.S. Navy on your chest, you were going to represent the U.S. Navy the way that these articles said that you had to. And that's not hard. The uniform's 4 or 5 pieces, put it on correctly, And so every time I tried to do something for a sailor, I would get hit with him with we're not doing that. We can't do that. I ended up fighting him on a couple of things to get one sailor transferred back out to sea duty. He really wanted to go back out to sea for some reason. And I was we need people out at sea. Who wants to go back out to sea? No one. And you have this guy here that's please take me. And I'm why wouldn't we do this for him? We have the manning. We have this. Here's our plan. If and when he does leave, I've already talked to detailers. And every time I would just try and do something, he would just stop me. And the chief season was the biggest one. And he had a big problem with with our YN1 potentially making chief at that command because he was the only YN1 that we had. He was really, really, really good at his job. And the Navy's really, really, really good at exploiting people who are good at their job. And he felt so comfortable with this YN1 that he could not let him go. And I was fighting him if this guy makes it, you have to let him go be a part of this season. You have to. This is training that only lasts for so long. It's over by September, whatever. You get him back. It'll be okay. Yeah. The whole Navy goes through it. So it's not even it's just us, it's the whole Navy. And thankfully for him, he didn't make it under us. He made it somewhere else that supported him. But every turn, it was no, or what else can you give me? Or I'm going to pause. I'm going to hold on it until whatever answer I get. It was just one more thing. And it was so aggravating.
Yeah, at that command, you were the senior enlisted advisor, right?
I was.
So that's a huge conflict, actually, because you're in charge of not only yourself and the smaller world you function out of, but all the enlisted sailors as well.
So where did with the triad, where did the XO fall into this?
Oh, gosh. So the XO and I were what the CO and I should have been. The XO and I were so close. And it's actually funny. His last name is Davy, spelled differently, but his last name was Davy. And it really messed with me
So
whenever
is it spelled properly then?
Oh, Indian. Yes. My name is pronounced and spelled correctly. The Davey is wrong.
Sorry, you got to have a little bit of fun while we're in this. Yeah.
Yes. Laughter is always the best policy.
Wow, now she just showed us her guns like we're supposed to be
whatever, Dane.
You see that? She went like this, like,
welcome to my life.
Yeah. Yeah, I am still scared of her. So
hold up, welcome to mine.
Oh my God.
Hold up, I actually think I see liquid. Did you just spit on your computer?
No, I didn't.
I'm just messing with him.
Oh, I'm like, no.
You.
Oh, it's me?
Yeah.
Phil, let's have some fun with this, man. You're a little uptight.
Let's go.
He was, oh my God. Just for the record, yesterday, he's usually the little bitch, but yesterday he was such on edge. He almost killed our waitress last night.
Oh.
I mean, everything was like snap, 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 snap.
It started with a broken TV the day before from my movers that I didn't figure out until I installed it. So yeah. Anyway,
don't be on a Dateline episode. Don't.
I know exactly.
Yeah, to catch it.
Yeah,
catch a killer.
I think his anxiety is kicking in. So
the podcaster who became on the podcast,
don't my own guest.
Yeah,
that's why I keep this handy in case he jumps at me. So, despite the difficult leadership you faced, during this time, you're still in touch with many of the people you worked with alongside, those years. How critical were those lateral peer relationships in helping you survive through, those toxic moments with command, in the different climates you had to endure?
You're saying how important were the friendships and the relationships that I had with coworkers?
How did your peers or, again, the XO, how did others help you maintain what you need to do each day and everything else?
Yeah. My last command, the XO was helpful in that I wasn't crazy. Sometimes you kind of need that check. Like, am I crazy or is this like a real thing? Like you gaslight yourself, and that was probably my biggest thing at that last command was just like, I'm not weak. I'm not a crying little female, like crying at every time someone says something mean to me. Like I'm not sensitive in that way, but this is not okay. And so the XO really helped me like feel validated in that I wasn't crazy, because he is such a smart individual and I really, really respected him. So I knew that if he was feeling some type of way and that it was accurate. I think you always find your people at your command. You find your group and you stick with them and it helps. I think friendships, relationships, whatever it is for you to have that outlet to talk to people about what you're going through. Some people, obviously, misery loves company. So whenever you're misery or like whenever you're miserable with other people, you share that trauma bond.
Yeah.
And so it helps get through. Really everything has an end date, so your deployment has an end date, your contract has an end date. This command, like everybody that you hate at a command has an end date because eventually they're going to transfer or you will. So I think that was also something that kind of helped me, was like, just wait it out. Someone's going to leave, you're going to leave, you could transfer, whatever the case may be. And especially with officers, because they were there less time.
Yep.
That it was like, if you really didn't get along with someone, you knew that they were probably going to leave sooner.
Yeah. Makes sense.
So just wait it out. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I talk about trauma bonding. I had to hear Dan's story about breaking his lawnmower belts. And I think he just wanted to share because he wanted somebody to commiserate with him. So I get it.
Yeah. Yeah. See, misery, like when they say misery loves company, like that's a real thing.
He wants to drag me down at all times.
Yeah.
All right. As a training and administrative of the reserve, you faced a string of non-competitive evaluations along the way. You've candidly admitted that you needed more experience during those times anyway. How did you keep from getting discouraged during those years?
Are you talking about the years where I was trying to make chief?
Yeah.
And didn't? Yeah. So in case people don't know, TAR changed to FTS, which was full-time support, and I think went back to TAR. And the funny thing is with that program, I didn't even know I was in it. Right. I had no idea I was in it because I was active duty. Like I was seashore rotation. I was with active duty commands the whole time. I had no idea what that was or that I was even in it until several years down the road where my eval was coming up and someone was like, oh, she's one of one because she's TAR. And so I've always had an EP. Like every single time I've had an EP, which, you know, when you're a junior sailor, you don't know what that means. And so it wasn't until later that I was like, oh, well, yeah, I constantly have a string of EPs. I'm having all admirals and captains sign it. Like, I'm good. But those 6 years that I was trying to make chief and wasn't, there were the beginning couple of years, you know, it was really depressing. Of course, I cried. I was really upset. Anybody that has tried to make chief several times understands that. It was like those last couple of years, it was just like, what am I not doing?
Right.
You know, then it was like, what am I not doing? What do I have to do? What does my eval need to say? You know, I don't know. And because I was TAR, FTS, and a CS at that, I was realizing that those people weren't sitting the board.
Yep.
And so I was like, how do I make this? How do I appeal to these people who have no idea, that just see this, you know, 08, 010, 06 signing my evals. I'm one of one, like, of course, right? So, you know, I'm trying to appeal to that. So it's always hard to keep yourself motivated. And it's always really hard when you're trying to motivate other people. So when people see you make it and they're still getting goose eggs or they have quotas and they're not getting it, it's really hard to keep them motivated too, because they actually have numbers and they're not making it. And people enlisted want to make chief. Like that's the pinnacle. Like you really want to do that. So when you don't, it's really sad. It's heartbreaking. So I don't know. I don't know how I kept myself motivated. I guess I just really wanted it. I don't know.
No, I mean, it's kind of the underlying message I hear with a lot of your stories is that when you want it, you go after it.
Yeah.
It fits the bulldog narrative a little bit different, but
right.
You see it, you go after it.
Yeah.
So, real quick, you know, because you mentioned something. Do you believe the TAR hurt you for not making chief there for a while?
Yes, 100%. Yeah. I tried to get out of that for several years. Not hard enough, but I tried to get out of that for several years. I tried to cross rate a couple times. And they were just like the manning, the quotas, the number, you know, whatever excuse they're going to give you to not do it. So, you know, when I was getting ready to retire, before I knew I was going to retire, and they did away with the FTSCS rating, I was like, I know for sure I'm going to make 8 then. Like, I know for sure it's going to happen. But I obviously put in my papers and I never got the chance. So.
Gotcha. No. So 2018 went through a grueling 10-week. I'm having a hard time with that one. Chief's initiation.
Yeah.
We're known as one of the toughest processes in the Navy.
Yeah.
When you finally put on those anchors, did it feel like the ultimate validation of everything you had endured?
For those 10 weeks, for sure. Yeah. I mean, of course, anytime you get your anchors and you earn them, like you really earn them, of course, that feels really good. It's your cumulative end thing. It's like everything that you worked for, at least through season, you know, it comes to an end. That's what you get. And it was fantastic. There was a lot of internal disagreements that was like, I wanted to look back on people who probably thought I wasn't gonna make it and like give them the bird, right? Like, screw you. Look what I did. I finally got here, and I did it on like through hard work, you know? And then there was another piece of me that was like, did I really earn this? You know, did I really deserve this? And I wanted to make the Chiefs mess proud. I wanted to make everyone who was a part of my season really proud. And so, yeah, there was a lot there too that was like, I don't know that I earned this. And now that I have this and all of these people that I look up to, I now have to make them proud by doing the best job that I absolutely can.
Gotcha. No, I mean, again, respect, because like I said, did the same thing, made chief a long time ago though.
A long, 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 long time
exactly.
ago.
Yeah. Long time ago. And overseas where, the first words out of their mouth is the Mick Pond of CNO can't come over here. We'll know before they show up, so we're gonna do a type thing. So it was like lovely. But during that initial phase of it, going through it, one of the things I said, because my wife was in too, was my wife makes chief. I said, I'm not coming around her initiation. I don't want to see her like this. But after on the anchors and everything else, I was like, oh hell no, I'll be the first one in her face. Because you realize what's about. And I had, like you, we had a really good tight group. I mean, you have individuals who, probably shouldn't have been there,
always.
And everything else. Again, like I said, I was the baby. So, unfortunately had a stigma put on me from the beginning, that changed through that course. But, again, mad props, getting those anchors. I mean, it's one of the proudest days, until, and I wanted to say chief until, I looked at the pay scale down the road and went, holy shit, you know what? I'm going officer.
Yeah. If I had it in me to stay in, I probably would have done the same thing. Yeah.
So mad props.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, I guess I got the next one. Man,
you're off today.
I know I am. Later in your career, you helped run those initiations and the policy guardrails were tightening, and they were, and they had been up even more so when you after you went through.
Yeah,
make the process a little softer, less of a bonding experience. What do you think the Navy loses when it sanitizes those traditional high friction rites of passage?
I think the Navy loses a lot of good quality people, we talk about good and bad leaders. We talk about fair and firm treatment. We talk about tradition. The Navy's deep, rich in tradition. And it's sad to see a lot of that go away. It's sad to see that. And my chief, when I was going through season, right, she said to me, I don't doubt that season will be a PowerPoint at some point down the road. Yeah. And I think we're almost getting there where season is going to be a PowerPoint. I think when you lose these really tough situations. Now, I know when we talked before and you were kind of like giggling at me that I went through in 2018 versus whenever you went through, which I think was like 18
something.
Yeah. So
1893.
Okay, yeah.
2001.
Yeah.
2000 actually. But yeah,
okay, yeah. So when you went through versus when I went through, and I told you then, like when I was talking to some old goats, like when they went through in like the 90s, or it was the difference in initiation. I wanted to be a part of their season because I feel like that's how you really earn stuff. Or that's at least how I felt I really would have earned those anchors, is like going through those really, really tough times. And not that my season wasn't tough. It definitely was. But I mean, obviously I can only compare what I know. And so and it was very challenging to me, and I appreciated that. And I think whenever we are losing these traditions, then people also lose what it means to be a chief.
Yeah.
To walk around in the uniform, to carry those anchors is truly a weight that you don't feel unless you have experience, like unless you have been put through some sort of ringer to know how heavy those anchors can be, and that how heavy they are daily carrying those around. I used to tell my selects, like, when you walk around in those anchors and you put your magic pants on, right? Because it's the difference in black and khaki. There's no asterisks tied to your anchor that's like, I'm a boot chief, I'm a whatever. People just see you in the anchor and they immediately assume that you have the answers, that you're gonna help, that whatever. And when you don't have that, when you're not taught that where to go for answers, how to get sailors help, when you're not taught that, we lose junior sailors and we lose the chief's mess, and we lose officers who depend on us to make us, or we lose officers who depend on us to put a pulse on the command. It's really a weird up and downward hill, right? The shit flows uphill and downhill because we do a disservice to our officers who are still trying to learn and who really depend on us. We do a disservice to our junior sailors who at one point maybe thought they wanted to be a chief. And that's really upsetting to hear also when people are like, I thought I wanted to be a chief, but I don't anymore because look at the mess. And that's really upsetting. And I can't blame them for it because I've seen it in other messes. I saw it in my own mess. Like I've seen it. So it's not great, but when we don't have that really rigid training, we lose all of that. And when we lose all of that, the Navy itself falls apart.
Yeah.
So, go ahead.
So one of the things, and this is not unique necessarily to the Chiefs community, but is very strong in the Chiefs community, or I think it still can be, is the bonding over shared experiences. It happens in SEER training when people go do that. It happens with flight crews. It happens, it's even those who go to war. You share experience and the bonding you create over that. And that's the power of the Chiefs messes. It's not just your command that is succeeding the Chiefs mess. It's all of the Navy that succeeds because of it. And it's funny because, even as a junior chief yourself, you probably reached out to senior chiefs that may not have been on your ship because, one, you made a connection with the anchors, and two, you knew how to ask for help when you didn't have all the answers in your pocket.
So
go ahead.
So for the principle of what you went through, and I mean, I'm going to cover something here in a minute too, but what Phil just said, what would you refer, what did the Chiefs mess refer to that as?
Refer to what as?
Reaching out, communicating, and everything else. The baseline was called networking and being able to communicate and bring that fraternity in. I mean, I think to your point, and again, my dad's retired master chief too, so we've had those discussions, and I would not have enjoyed his initiation because he had a black snake thrown in with him, so he bit its head off and spit it back out. He had to eat worm sandwiches.
Yeah, I think that's so cool, man.
Right? I would have done that.
Let me help you out. The worm sandwich is not okay. I can attest to that, even though we weren't supposed to eat that. But
worm sandwiches or diarrhea lettuce, you choose.
Yeah, exactly. But I think the biggest thing is none of the air services have anything like that. I mean, the Air Force, the closest one is the Air Force when the guys make E9.
Yeah.
And then they become a chief master sergeant. It's funny, they go through a little thing like that. Nothing like that.
Well, that's why they come and join our seasons.
Well, and I mean, we actually had an Air Force guy that we put through one time.
Yeah.
Which was good to have because of the following year because I ran 4 initiations out of Sinclair Fleet.
Yeah.
The Forces compound. When you have an Air Force guy in there and all the selectees are looking at him and he's talking to him and they're like, I'm not talking to you, you're not a chief. And I'm like, you better fucking talk to him because he went through chiefs.
Yeah.
We're losing some of that. Now, some of the stuff is stupid. I'm going to tell you right now. But a lot of the key thing is how do you still get the meaning across, and everything else. And the biggest thing I try to tell people when I was going through, and even that I expected from my chiefs as an officer, I said, hey, your answers are in your chief creed. If you honestly understand that and not just look at it as, a creed or an oath or anything else. It's giving you the framework of what's expected of you. When you don't know something, you go figure it out. Ask the chief, networking and all that other stuff. I mean, the disappointment for me was literally, and Phil's heard me say it, in fact, my first chief on the baton, I mean, he literally looked at me one day and said, I sometimes feel like you expect me to be the chief you were. And I literally looked at him and said, get the fuck out of my space before I put my hands around your neck, because you're goddamn right I do.
Yeah.
And when we were first met, the chief who made senior chief, he literally looked at me one day and said, I can't be operational administrative, sir. Which one do you want me to be? And I said, you're fired.
Yeah, what?
Yeah, so I mean, but that's that's common within the CT community too, a bunch of premium. But what I saw was, again, not the focus of taking care of the sailors, even setting officer boards. I could give you a story where one, it was just ironic how it happened. First class came in, there was another command NC doc, and then I'm like, dude, why are you not? He goes, well, none of the chiefs are helping me because they're competing too. So ironically, here was the funny part. Literally, his chief was the next guy in. And I mean, we just grilled him right there on the spot. I said, so he's like, well, I'm like, stop. You should still be helping this guy out. I mean, he's, first class. I mean, naturally, we gave him our names and it's working through that. But there's so much that's lost where I guess what I'm getting at is it's all about me. And Phil says this. And that's what I saw a lot. And I mean, the fun part I did have was, again, a lot of the chiefs, a lot of the master chiefs I worked with all knew me. We came up together, so they knew me. But the junior chiefs, literally would look at me and be like, well, sir, it's my job to train you. I'd be like, oh, really? Let's get because I mean, don't get me wrong. They're still rolling. I let them do their thing. But that's when I looked at him and said, you didn't get it. You never got it. Because if you're coming to me as a Mustang and, you knew I was 6 years as a chief and you're going to pop off like that, then we've already got a problem. So
see, there's that. And when they lose the right to, because there was one season where the MCPON was like, we're accepting everyone.
Yeah.
And I was like, get out of here. You can't take that away from us, because you're now letting people in who shouldn't be in, who maybe just need another year, right?
Yeah.
Who needs a little bit more time to, just like you said, to get it, And so, there's that. And the mess that put me through, I'll tell you, like, when you talk about networking, I did that as a CS because I had to.
Yeah.
But so networking came really, really easy being in the Chiefs mess. But I'll tell you, if I ever needed anything from that mess, it would be hard to pick a person to help me, because everyone's hands would be up.
Gotcha.
And they would be like, what can I do, sis? How can I get you? Like, Then I transferred. No one's like that. And their messes are like, they're like clicks. Every command had their own mess, and they were like this inside their own mess. But I'm on the outside, and because I'm not a part of that command, but I'm like, yo, I need help. And I'm the only chief over here. I'm also brand new. My ISIC is in Fort Worth. Like I need help here. And people just, I had to get the sniff test first. Like, people had to make sure I was okay to hang out with them. Like, and again, it just goes back to the now having to prove myself to these people. Like, I am worthy of your trust. I am okay. I'm not going to mess you over. Like, no one's here to like ruffle any feathers. I'm just here to be a part of the mess because the anchors allow it. But apparently it didn't. And I just saw it getting worse and worse. And like you said before, the later seasons are more individual. It's very hard now that if I reached out to a brother or sister to ask for help, because now it's individual. Like the mess wouldn't respond.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's sad. So
yeah, it is. It's awful. And like after, and this is like a total different tangent, but after I had pinned on, about a month later, the guy who I was living with and engaged to ghosted me. And that was one of the hardest things I had ever gone through. And it was right on the back of season. So I think maybe my emotions were just really running high. But I had said, like, the mess obviously knew about it. And I had everyone at my door. The entire mess, like, well, not the entire mess, but a lot of my brothers and sisters showed up with beer, showed up with pizza, showed up with a hug. Like, and I was 30 days into it.
Yeah.
And that was like, that's the type of stuff that I thrived on, that I was like, this is what I worked so hard for. This is what I want to instill in my future sailors and whoever else I'm able to put through. Like, this is it, where you just show up for people.
Well, you expect in that community, again, it goes without saying, and we covered this in a couple podcasts back, it's the mess is there and they should have your six. They should also be the ones who jump in your ass or straighten you out.
Yeah.
That's
iron sharpens iron. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Yeah.
And I mean, I've been on the outside, got pulled into a couple initiations, and had fun with that and everything else, but a totally different thing. And part of it for me, was learning to let go of the mess too. That was probably hard.
Oh, yeah.
At first. I can tell you, it has to be done,
Yeah.
And, that was the challenge for me at first, was learning how to do that. So
I think that's a tough one for anyone who makes chief, and all of their first class friends are still around, separating that.
Yeah,
and then of course, as you're an officer and you go, and I'm sure that's difficult for sure.
It is. It's along those lines. I mean, but I think the chief part was easy. The first time one of my first classes was like, "Hey Dan, it's me." No, it's fucking chief. Are we clear?
Right.
But that's how I am, regardless. At all. Within retrospect, especially if it's a public setting and all that stuff. So
yeah.
That's why I make him call me Commander. I want him to remember.
Yeah, that doesn't fucking matter. That's why I call him Sluff.
Oh my gosh. This
Joe
reminds me,
boy.
At my very first command, there was a master chief that I think might have been a reservist or something. And so I met him as a civilian, and his name was Frank. And then he came through the line in his master chief uniform. And I was like, "Hey, Frank." And I'm an E2. And and so he pulled me aside. He was like, "Hey, whenever I'm in uniform, like, it's master chief." And I'm like, "Oh, you've always been Frank to me." So.
Oh, jeez.
I think, hold up. Now I think I understand where her problem started.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, absolutely. I was like, "Hey, Frank, Western omelet this morning."
Sounds good, Davey.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, stepping back a bit before your chief occurred, you hit a point where you felt a little disconnected from your body and struggled to fit in your uniform. And we've talked about this audience. Don't worry, she's not going to get mad at me for asking this question, because I think it's a huge part of your story.
Yeah.
What was the internal catalyst that drove you to say, "I need to change this right now," leading you to programs like Insanity or the Ashley Horner series?
I think most of it was just being a woman, right? Like, and societal pressure. Well, society. Oh, holy cow. Okay, so society really didn't exist then, like, because the internet wasn't a thing. Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff was just coming online. But I think as a woman, you want to look a certain way. There was something that was appealing to me about fit women with six packs, women with a little bit of muscle. That absolutely appealed to me. And I looked nothing like that. I gained so much weight on deployments. Being a CS has its perks and its cons. And all of those dinner rolls and all of those cookies we mentioned, sat on my love handles. So, like, I feel like you want to be appealing, you want to feel attractive, and that to me meant to look a certain way. And that is kind of what drove me to start on my exercise journey of, like, Insanity, Beachbody products, then finding Ashley Horner to lead me to compete, to lead me into that whole realm of the fitness industry. I think that's started probably something just as vain as I want to look cute, and then turned into a passion.
Well, I mean, my takeaway on the body positivity there is not, you didn't scream, I need to be skinny.
No.
You said you want to be fit. You wanted to feel comfortable in your skin. So, it wasn't the departure. I find that sometimes we overly shift, and I say we as if I'm a woman in your skin and understand it.
You are a woman too.
All right, maybe sometimes, but anyway, I don't understand it. I don't feel it. I'm not in your shoes. But when I hear people, I need to be 98 pounds. I'm like, please God, no. You look amazing the way you are. So I don't know. I get confused about why it's both ends of the spectrum. Instead, I'm either totally comfortable in my body and accept it for the way it is, or I'm looking for super skinny. But you said middle of the ground. You just wanted to be back to where you thought you felt comfortable.
Yeah, I'm glad that it happened then and not now. Societal pressures now, creating this unrealistic beauty standard now. Yeah. There's no way that I could have started my journey now, because it is an overcorrection, and people really take the scale as what their body looks like. You could be 98 pounds and be really healthy. You could also be 150 pounds and also be really healthy. If you're just, a heavier lifter and you have more muscle, your body composition is going to look different than if you were 98 pounds. And so if anyone takes anything away from this podcast, ladies, you are fine just the way you are. Get off Instagram. Stop comparing yourself. Get off TikTok. Stop comparing yourself. You are great just the way you are.
Yeah.
And
what about us?
Yeah. Oh, you guys are okay.
We're just okay.
Just okay.
Okay.
No,
I'm kidding. Yeah. I'm kidding. You guys are great.
I love that message. I mean, especially because I have a daughter, and
yeah.
she puts herself in that position of comparing herself to others. And I'm like, you are a beautiful young lady. You do not need to think about yourself in comparison to other people. You want to be muscly? Go for it. Go be muscly. You want to be skinny? Don't undereat. Just eat healthy.
Yeah.
You want to be big and chunky and love it? Do it. Because guess what? Dad loves you no matter what. So.
And that's so important to have a dad that loves you in that way. I didn't have that growing up, which probably, contributed to a lot of things. But I think that's so important for girl dads to show that they are okay just the way they are. They are loved just the way they are. They are beautiful just the way they are. And it's in these unrealistic beauty standards that are heavily filtered, heavily surgical, that are being portrayed as if it's natural, is destroying our youth, and it's destroying women now. Like, I'm in my 40s and I look at this stuff and I'm like, why don't I look at that? And then I'm like, probably because I don't have $100,000 to put towards surgery, probably because I don't have the filter. I don't even know how to work those filters. So like, I couldn't even tell you, like, all of the photoshopping and all the things that are out there. And, and I think it's such a fine line that we walk, because so many people are like, oh, but you're fat shaming, you're body shaming, you're sex shaming, you're all this shaming. And I'm like, no, no, I'm just trying to be comfortable in my body and be accepted for that without being sexualized for it. So I think it's really important that, Phil, like, as a girl dad, and all you girl dads that are out there, to really drive it home for your girls, just stop the internet, like, just stop it.
Yeah, I've been trying that for years.
Yeah.
That's a tough one. And
it is.
It is not just girls, actually. I find that some boys are starting to go this direction. What is it?
Oh, really?
Clavicular or whatever, clavicle, whatever the guy's name.
Oh, wow.
The guy that broke his jaw to get it shaped a certain way. I know nothing about it because I don't look at it.
I don't either.
I've heard my kids talk about it.
Wow.
But I think, and boys are looking at it now through the drug industry. Hey, can I go get those, what are the GLP-1?
Yeah.
Those things to make myself thin. Yeah. And I caution the world on that side too, is like, yes, be fit, be healthy, but do it their natural way. And I think that kind of leads to part of my next question is, you found yourself constantly asking, then what? As you pushed your physical limits, How did the relentless drive culminate in you stepping onto the stage for the first time for the National Physique Committee fitness show in 2014, all while balancing brutal schedule of a CS and demanding ED rotation of your communication officer? That's right, I added that part.
Yeah.
This is the comment. I had to have my breakfast burritos.
Yeah, yeah. No COVID shot, but please inject me with Ozempic. Yeah.
Yeah.
So okay, I want to understand the question. Because you just added that last part, which kind of threw me. So you're saying like, how did I maintain? Like, how did I balance pretty much the Navy and bodybuilding?
Yeah. So for the audience, let me give my perspective on it, because I actually thought this was going on longer in your life than just the small window that we talked about.
Yeah.
But when I first knew you, you were already starting to really focus on the powerlifting and things like that, and putting on muscle, not just being fit. It was about muscle.
Yeah.
I was in the gym with you at 3-4 o'clock in the morning, whatever, and you were squatting the same damn amount as I was. And not to say I squatted a lot, but you were squatting the same damn amount as I was. And I was so I kept trying to go in there and sneak a workout in so I could get ahead of you. But it was cool to see that. But I also understood your watch rotation and what type of schedule that meant for you. Yeah. That's a tough balance right there. And you're preparing for a show. So, those things, how did you balance that?
Very carefully. I still look back on that. Like, I don't even know how I did it. Like we mentioned earlier, when I want something, I will be 10 toes down. I will dig my heels in. I will do anything possible, anything necessary to get what I want. And, right, wrong, or indifferent, that's just who I am. And I wanted to compete. I wanted to place at these shows, which is top 5. I wanted to walk away with some sort of hardware that said I did this. And to do that required very strict eating habits, very regimented working out habits. And as you know, when you're out to sea after work, like during lunchtime lunchtime was usually reserved for the officers, but some like before and after that golden hour, and then after everyone got off work, it was busy. Those gyms are packed.
Yeah.
And I refused to be in there trying, like, because I wasn't going to work out. Like, there was no way for me to get what I wanted when half the ship was in the forward gym, aft gym, whatever. And so the only answer to that was to get up at 2:40 in the morning, be in the gym by 3, work out till 4, shower, and be in the galley by 5.
Yep.
And then, I think that was one of the perks of being a CS, is I got to decide what I was going to eat and when I was going to eat it. And, being in flag also let me source better food. So I wasn't eating, ship's company stuff until I was, but that's a separate story. So like, yeah, I think that the perk of being a CS helped a lot with my eating for being in bodybuilding. If we did short underways, I would prep my food and bring it with me. Whenever I would travel, I would pack my food and bring it with me. And so I would never miss a workout. There were times, like I did the 5-day split, then I went to 6 days a week, then I went to 7 days a week, then I went back down to 6 and 5. I mean, you couldn't keep me out of the gym.
Yeah.
Like that wasn't going to happen. Yeah.
I know.
And when you have a goal like that too, and then of course, like you see the results and you're like, ooh, like now I really want to keep going because I just lifted more, or like now this striation is coming in, or like now I see this muscle that wasn't there before. So yeah, it was very, very addicting, but also I wanted to compete. I wanted to be on the stage. I wanted to place top 5. I wanted to do that. And that's whatever it was going to take is what it was going to take. And that's what I was going to do it. No questions asked.
Yeah. You have to share some of I don't know if they're on your Facebook or anything, but share some of the photos of the competition and where you got to, because I think the NPC is a little bit different, I think, than
Yes.
the people think about bodybuilding. They think about these massive dudes, and even the women's side, it's ridiculous looking. But the NPC is a little bit different competition because I remember my one of my colleagues was doing the same thing, and he bulked up and slimmed up simultaneously. Amazing.
Yeah.
And he looked fantastic. And I think you did as well. It'd be good to share some of those things online just to show people your progress. You got the medal there? Or
my sword is right here. I don't know if it's right here.
What code? That is sweet.
Yeah, so this is my sword because I did place overall. So when you first compete, you look how much look at this. I'm sitting down and look how much taller this thing is than me. It's kind of nuts. And I chose the shorter of the two. But yeah, so when I first started competing, I did the Natural Federation, which you are drug tested and you have to be clean of all steroids and peptides and things, all drug enhancing things, or performance enhancing drugs. You had to be free of all of that before you could compete. And you had to be free of, and I don't know how they determine this, but you had to be free for at least 7 years before you could compete. So me being brand new and like I was working out like weight training for a year before I got into bodybuilding. So when I stepped on stage for the first time, I had only been weight training for a year. I placed 3rd at my first competition, came back to that same show, I think the next year, or no, I came back to another show like just a couple months later and placed 1st in my category and then won overall, which is where the sword came from, which allows you to compete in more things because you're not novice anymore. You've won overall, so now you can compete in your division. And so for women, at the time it was only bikini, figure, physique. I think physique was in as a part of the categories, and then bodybuilding, which just means if everyone sees the bikini girls, very skinny, all TNA, the blonde hair, the shoulder twerks, all of the things. Figure is what I competed in. That was a step up. It was more muscle, different posing, things like that. Physique was more muscle than that, but not quite the scary bodybuilding women that you see. And then there's bodybuilding, which is like those women that you see that look like men. And so, yeah, so that's how that works. And then I was in the Natural Federation, and then it just, again, I wanted more. I wanted more of a competition. I wanted more. And so I changed over to NPC, which is the larger federation. And I didn't place in any show I did. I didn't place in any of them because those girls are all using drugs and I couldn't. And I'm only 5 feet tall. So like I would look stupid and crazy if I was just this meatball of a person. Yeah, so I didn't get to place at all after that, but I was very strong.
Yeah.
I was very, very strong. I was deadlifting 315 pounds regularly.
I confirm. I know.
Regularly. Yeah, I was squatting in the 2s regularly. And I know, like, because I'm short, my range of motion is significantly shorter than a lot of people. So I know that that's an advantage. Yep. But still, pound for pound, I'm really strong. So, or I was, not anymore. But
yeah, some believes me believe that's not a 100% accurate statement.
Yeah.
Show me your biceps again.
It's all on my face. Well, you can't see my Facebook because it's private now too. But all of like me deadlifting, me squatting, and benching, it's all there. Like it's all proof. Did it.
I'll let you share whatever you want to share. We could repost it to our things and keep it still out of the anything that we want to allow to not be private.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or we'll just hold it. It's okay.
No, all of those are totally fine. It's private for separate reasons, but that's fine.
Fair.
So tell us about the 5 a.m. crew. What did that specific community of early morning gym goers, give you that you weren't getting from the standard military environment?
Civilians, like you didn't talk at all about Navy, about your chief. You didn't talk anything about work. It was purely lifting, purely. And those people who are showing up at 5 a.m. have a love for the game, And so you all share in that love and you all share in that desire. And it's such a small crew that you get to know everybody by name. And you get to see people's journeys. It's easier to get a spot if you ever needed it, because you could just call Joe over because he's right there and we're all in the gym together. And they all know that I've been having a hard time getting this up, and then so finally I'm able to. And it's its own mess.
Well, that was going to be my parallel, honestly. I mean, I don't know if you ever see Joey Swoll, any of the stuff he posts online, but I mean, I'm a big fan of his, but he says the same thing. It's the gym culture. You're there for mutually supporting people, and some of the positive videos that he has are people that, somebody that doesn't look like they belong in the gym, but somebody that definitely looks like they go over and they help them, or they have a piece of equipment to help them. And there's one guy that had destroyed knees because of the military career. That is the gym culture. And I think you said best, that is the mess.
Yeah.
So you described your military self as a bulldog, and I find that ironic because I had 3 CMCs and that was their nickname for me.
Yeah.
Was that persona something you genuinely liked about yourself, or was it necessary armor you had to put on just to survive and command respect?
I think both. And then also just to give you like a little bit of background, the bulldog that's on my cover art is Bella. That is my Bella. She is an English bulldog. I did have her. She was 12 years old when she passed. So that is Bella. So to have an English bulldog as my partner was like, it was perfect. It was a perfect match, right? She's a little bulldog. I was a little bulldog. Like, it was great. I think both are absolutely true. I really admired that about myself, that I wasn't going to just fall over and let people walk on me. I wasn't a yes person in any way, shape, or form. And anyone who served with me that might listen to this is probably sitting there cussing me out or like, yep, she gave me such a hard time. Yeah, I wasn't a yes person ever, but it was also necessary for me to show people that I was here and I meant business. And it wasn't because like, I'm here to sleep with you. I'm here to get ahead. I'm here to get out of work. I'm here to whatever it could have been. I wasn't here for that. Yep. And so that caused its own problems. But again, it went back to my work ethic of like, you weren't going to take that away from me. And that was my bulldog mentality of just bulldozing through stuff. And it was necessary for me to survive. Yeah. For sure. For sure.
I would say, I mean, and you already said it. It's misconstrued a lot, actually, because it's business. It's not personal.
Yep.
Yeah. And that's what a lot of people would be like. I'd be like, no, look, stop. Let's remember friendships and everything to the side. You failed to fucking do this. Do it. Now, if you want to have a problem with it, you're the one who's got to worry about that later and everything else. I mean, my wife joked because there's a picture of her, me, and there's also a picture of my dad, and like people would come up and see that picture and then look at her. She'd be like, "Oh, my husband." They'd be like, "Well, yeah, things." Or other times they'd be like, "Well, he was a dick." But what? She would look and go, "So what did you do wrong that he was a dick to you about?" And I would look at people. Yeah, I loved my last 2 first classes that I had on the ship because they were amazing. And one of them's now actually retired here in a month as a warrant. The other one's a master chief. But what I liked was they were like, "Hey, sir, you can get in our ass, but the next day you kind of reset and start over." And I go, "Exactly." I said,
"Were they men?"
Yes.
Yeah.
I said, "If you want, I said, my issue," and I tell people all this time, and Phil and I would say this to other people, if you want to keep it going, that's on you. That's your problem. That's not my problem. It will eventually divide us and split us, but I'm not going to go there. And I think to your point, it's hard for people to understand that. Now, again, I'm not a woman, and
Right.
I mean, but my wife was in, so I had to deal with a little bit of stuff. Because and I'm not just saying this; she's a very attractive woman too. The fact that you mentioned that it wasn't, I was looking to hook up with you and everything else. That's the sad part because there's truth to that statement.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the funny
Yeah.
part, not even in the military, but I saw over here at Fort Knox on the civilian side, and
It's called pretty privilege.
well,
I have pretty privilege.
well,
yeah, it's called pretty privilege. People
yeah,
who are pretty get privileges. And I mean, back then phones weren't a thing, right? You couldn't text, like you had to pay per text. And like, so camera phones, iPhone, like that was all just coming on the scene. But if I had a way to record half the stuff that these men, like these chiefs, these other, like these people said to me,
Yeah.
I could write a book.
Yeah.
Like, and people would say the same thing you would, Dan. Like, we're just, if we are going to get into this, like, fine. And then you got 24 hours to get over it because whoop-de-whoop, we got to move on. Fine. People would say that to me and not move on.
Oh, no, you're absolutely right.
The same person who said that to me, like, we got 24 hours, like, didn't give me, didn't even take on their own advice, right? So 24 hours comes and I think we're good and we're not good. Like, and
well, that's the sad part, not just talking about this situation.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. People are like that. I mean, my point literally was, I'm good 5 minutes later.
Yeah.
Again, if you're still fucking steaming about it, because again, my point, and this is how I was raised.
Yeah.
You screwed up, you half-assed, you got your ass chewed up, you moved on. Yeah. It's not personal. Stop and think about, what you did. And again, I made the mirror comment because that was my number one thing. I would look at people and go, my chiefs would come to, I'd be like, go look in the fucking mirror and you'll be able to answer the question, what you did or didn't do or why I'm pissed. And that's what I really wanted people to do was not come to me for the answer, but also figure things out, because that's what we all have to do. And I think that's the kind of the discussion here, your success, at the different levels coming up and everything else and your discipline. That's what people need to understand. It takes just a little bit of that. I mean, I joke with people. First of all, anyone who wants to join the military, I do tell them to go to the Air Force first because I think it's a better structure. But I tell people, the military is a game. It's actually checklist. What kills me is all you got to do is follow it and check. What I told my kids, I said, look, here's what I did better than everyone else. I would just sneeze a little bit better than the next person. People are so average. All you got to do is take that little extra step. And today I still see, I see it on the Army side where I was looking at these guys and go, this is all you got to do to stand it out. And you're still, for whatever
not doing
reason,
it.
Yeah. To your point, I'm not going to do that. I had a first class on the first ship who refused to get ESWAS because he didn't believe in the program. So here I am in E5, 4 years in. I'm like, I'll see you at 2:00 in the morning, EW1, you got to be back at noon. Or midnight because, he didn't have his ESWAS. And he'd be like, well, that's bullshit. I'd be like, well, I mean, it's, a simple thing. But again, I think this is a good subject tied back to Chiefs initiation is ESWAS because when I did it, it was optional, but it taught, like the sub community, I do love their mindset. You will get your dolphins because that's how you help within the ship. And now we're just, like you said it, let's allow everyone to do this. Let's do this. Let's hand that trophy out. Or Phil gets excited about, everybody gets a trophy, that type of thing. So
that's the participation trophy era pisses me off.
So part of this, I guess what I'm getting at is, like we discussed, this is a good discussion. And I appreciate you sharing this with us. Especially, from the female thing. But I mean, guys, this applies to you too. Just, be yourself. I never respond to peer pressure. Never have. I guess I was lucky there. I never have. No, I do my own thing.
The Navy's just so different now because it's so it's such a business. It's not even the military anymore. It's such a business structure now. And like, even... I don't know if any of you guys have seen it or like when you're cruising Facebook or whatever, especially since you have people in, but the uniform standards have relaxed so much to me that it gives me like my eye twitches.
Gotcha.
When I
did just
yeah,
now.
you see, like it twitches so bad, and I don't know.
So there was an
just
argument
irritates
walking
me.
out the grocery store or wherever Dan and I were the other day, and she didn't have her cover on. First thing out of her mouth, and as soon as I looked up and saw it, I'm like, "Ugh."
I'm sitting there going,
"Where's your cover?
Where's your fucking cover? Where's your-"
Let me tell, I was in the nail salon as a retired chief looking at a chief in type 3s with the biggest amount of yellow hair I've ever seen in my entire life with an AirPod in. And I'm like,
Not my Navy."
There, exactly. And I'm like, how are you wearing the anchors and out here? Because people are not only looking at you as like, oh, military, and like that's what they look like. And then you have people like me who you don't know that I'm retired, that I'm looking at you as such a disappointment. And I reached out to the mess. And I was like, guys, is this allowed now? Because like before I go over here and check my sister, is this allowed? And then I was like, tell me to just kick rocks because I'm retired and this isn't my problem anymore. But like, I was like, this is what we're doing. Like, this is what we're doing. Like, we're just getting our nails done in type 3s with this giant yellow hair. And I'm like, okay.
Holy cow, do that again?
My head hurts.
I want that as a snippet for one of our videos.
Yeah, I am going to cut that one out.
Yes, do it. Yes.
All right, so let's get away from anxiety zone for all of us.
I know.
You profoundly noted that the person you actually were was completely hidden behind the uniform, and you had no idea what it was like to just be Davy.
Right.
What was the most surprising or uncomfortable thing you discovered about yourself once the uniform was gone?
I'm actually comfortable to talk about this now after years of therapy, but my vulnerability, I think the scariest part was letting this protective version of myself come down because I didn't need to be protective anymore. So this fighter that I have lived with my entire life to protect me from my mom, moving all over the place, all over the time, changing schools, making friends, trying to fit in, being in the Navy, fighting against these people that didn't understand me, that I didn't understand them, this way of life, this attention that I was getting that I didn't know what to do with, that I was performing, going to admirals messes that I had no idea, like even how I got into that, like it was all of this armor that I had to put up that had to come down when I retired was really scary. And I say had to come down because it's like clenching your teeth 24/7. It had to be done, that I had to let that go because I didn't have to fight anymore. And I think that realization was one of the breakthroughs that I had in therapy. And it was like, I get to just be Davy and I don't have to fight people to see me for who I am because I don't have evals anymore. I don't have anybody that I'm fighting with, against, for. I don't have that. My phone isn't ringing anymore, barely rings. Like it's one of those things, like the fight is gone. And so the fighter can take a break.
Yeah. Now it makes sense to me.
Yeah.
I'm in shock, man. That was good.
Thanks.
Therapy did you well.
I'll tell my therapist she's great.
I do that. So, I refer to as defense mechanisms. Now, you still have to have them up, but I think it's different for everybody because for you, for like me, I have a family, grandchildren, got a grandchild being born this week. So I am still in that. And I've always carried that role, that guardian role.
Yeah.
But when the guys go out, I'm not going to drink because I want to turn back. Plus, I got to be the sober one to take the, punches in the face when your drunk buddies want to punch you in the face because they don't want to go back, and then you jump in their ass later. But I think that's good and admirable. And again, something good across the board. And I think that goes along the lines of for a lot of people is a lot of people have a hard time because they don't let go. A lot of people did not think I was going to be able to let go coming into the Navy or coming out of the Navy, retiring. And even recently leaving the civilian side because I was in a high position where they're all like, we are surprised. I said, no, I said, you hit a point, you realize something, and it was, if I'd have, stayed in to be a GS-15, my family would have been on the side and everything else. And I'm so glad I've done that and everything else. Taking those steps. And a lot of it is communicating, having, my family is a resource. Phil was the first person I called and said, dude, do I quit or not? He said, he was like, quit.
And it's different for us that don't have a family, so there's also that added aspect. Like I didn't have a boyfriend, a husband, a fiance. I didn't have, my dog already died. I didn't have anybody, like no one. My family wasn't around. No one. So doing that on my own without having that support system was also really scary. Who do you talk to? Who do you lean on for stuff? Like, how do you navigate this? And that it was all by myself.
What you just did? You just wrote a country song.
That's true.
Fantastic. Little new boot. What is it? New boot goofing? Are we new boot goofing in here?
Goofing.
I hate country music with all my life.
This podcast is over. Hold up. I'm not going to lie to you. I hated it until I got back here.
Same.
I listen to everything still. I'm more go to Zeppelin. But I think because music has come together so much, I have issue with my daughter listens to, she doesn't anymore, but BTS and all that stuff, and I'd be like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah. When you turn into your parents, I think that's the worst. When you that full circle of what in the hell are we listening to?
But I'm talking about it doesn't even make sense.
But it's Korean.
Only 5 words in that whole song.
Yeah.
It's Korean.
They got
that's probably why you don't understand.
Butter, and I'm going, what does butter got to do with anything?
Yeah.
I
love it. I love it.
I'm just more of a let's play good music and
Yeah, good music is different than today's music. I'll say that.
What is good music for you while we're on that subject?
Oh my gosh, this is gonna sound so typical, but for all my 90s, 2000s babies, give me NSYNC, give me Britney, give me Nelly, give me Destiny's Child, give me but then I love a good 80s rock, give me, but I also love my 50s and 60s. So if you give me some Turtles, if you give me some Monkeys, my whole wedding playlist is actually.
You're pretty much along. I can, if it's good, I literally, I'm not gonna lie to you. My wife, likes country. I was like,
no, that's a hard no.
No, it's grown on me because so much of it sounds like regular music to me now.
No.
I'm a diehard Kid Rock fan.
Okay. Okay.
Zeppelin Kid Rock fan.
So I'm a music fits the mood. Honestly, it's Sunday morning, drinking a coffee, sitting at the table, kids sleep. I will put on Simple Lumineers. Actually,
good question. If you're driving, who has control of the radio?
If I'm driving,
okay, so you got a car. You got no. You got to give her passengers.
If you're the driver,
you got 4 passengers.
Who cares? If you're the driver, who has control of the music?
Oh, if I'm driving, it's my radio. It's my music.
Thank you. I just
bullshit.
Thank you.
It's the passenger driving next to you because they got the hands to do the.
Oh no! I already have the playlist queued up. We already know what we're moving on. Yeah, and even if Matthew's next to me, I'm like, hey, find this song and put it on. But we're not. Yeah, he doesn't get control of that in my car, and I don't get control of his in his car.
Yeah, you're wrong, but that's okay.
So, Davey, today you find yourself living in a state of calmness.
Yes.
Especially after that conversation.
Yes.
Listen more and being less harsh. You should like country music. Though you admit the tone still slips out occasionally. When you look in the mirror now, how do you reconcile the fierce chief petty officer you were with the peaceful person you are building today?
How do I reconcile that?
Yes. By doing the Home Alone faces like you just did?
Yeah. Golly, I think it's a lot of just separation for me. It's like, I did it, put the bow on it, wrap it up. None of, like we talked about before, I don't have Navy anything around my house. So I don't have the license plate. I don't have a bumper sticker. I don't, even on my plates, there's not a Navy symbol. On my license, it doesn't say Navy. I don't wear chief gear out. I don't have Navy anything on. The only stuff I have up is what I showed you guys, like my Texas chief stuff, like from when I left.
Yeah, the creed in your plaque. So
in
October, we go to Austin. We're driving 2 hours to tag her car.
All right, we're gonna Navy tags.
I dare you.
First of all, the worst thing you could ever do is dare us.
Hold on, we got a guest.
Yeah.
We got a guest.
we got a guest. This is my redhead.
Oh, there's a child.
Yay!
Yay!
All right, back out there and go. Rah.
Oh, and diapers and everything.
Yeah. Hey, I'll talk to you later, buddy.
Come here.
Really, go.
Hey, Phil. All right.
Yeah.
Hey, let's get ready to close up. We've got a couple more questions, and so if we ask everybody a legacy question. So if you were yourself from the past, what would you tell yourself about how to navigate the world that will come?
Wait, say that again.
If you were to meet yourself from the past, what would you tell yourself about how to navigate the world that's to come? Frame that however you want.
Yeah. I think if I were to meet myself today, back then, I would say play the game. It made things so much worse for me that I didn't, but also I had to go against it because of just my situation. So I really think if I could go back, I would probably say play the game and also keep your mouth shut. I was very quick to react instead of being thoughtful about reacting. And I fought every single battle. Which lost me the war ultimately, right? So I would say keep your mouth shut, do your job, but play the game better.
Yeah.
Okay, so now you're ready to be an officer because that's the key thing is learn to be strategic. Let some of the the little battles, let someone else win them.
Yeah.
Just be ready to dominate, take over the world.
I would say, definitely.
A little pinky in the brain thing there. Yeah.
I would say maybe adding a piece to that. And if I was in your shoes, I would say own your space as well, because having the trials and tribulations you had to go through, being of short stature, being a female in a mostly male dominated world, those things you have to own your space. And if you don't, you will get pile drived into the ground. And I think you kind of lived a little bit of that, or at least people attempted to do that to you. So. Yeah,
but I would still tell you again, I never said it, very successful, very self-aware.
Yep.
I think that's the biggest thing is, consistency, self-aware, and just being logical. And I think, you realize that's part of the growth and everything else. So before I go into my next question, one more thing I wanted to add to that. Is there anything else you want to throw out there before we kind of close this up and do our last question with you? Anything that we haven't covered? Anything you want to say to the audience? Phil and Dan are great would be nice, but
Thanks for saying
No, I have nothing. No, I'm just kidding.
Well played. I got your credit.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I don't know. If
Dan are great.
Own your space.
Oh no. No, I, just what I said to the women who are listening, that you are beautiful just the way you are, to get off the internet, stop doing that. And if we need to get a support group together so that we can remind each other how beautiful we are, like, let's make it happen, because I'm tired of seeing that. To all of my Fort Worth Chiefs, I love you. Thank you so much for helping me become the person I am today. I don't think my therapist will listen to this, but she is a fucking wizard. And so, like, thank her for this. And yeah, thank you for everyone that's just listening to my story, because I really just don't think I have one. There's obviously a lot that's missing out of this, for sake of time and all of the other things. But it's something I don't regret doing, but glad it's over.
Oh, it's not over yet.
Well, I mean, we've been going for an hour 40. I'm glad you say no regret, because we did put that on your artwork too. So.
No, I'm talking about the Navy. I'm talking about the Navy. Yeah, the Navy was something I don't regret. Yeah, but glad it's over. No, I'm absolutely honored that you guys even thought of me to do this. You guys have a lot of history with a lot of the people that you do your podcast with, and I don't have that history with you guys, so it's actually kind of nice that I got even thought of for this and went through with it. So thank you very much. I'm very honored.
You had a 2-year snapshot of me. That was enough to make an impression upon me. So you do have a history.
So, and that's important. I mean, because reality is, and I'm not gonna lie, you stood out enough for him to recognize that. And I respect Phil. I can't believe all these words are coming out of my mouth. I respect Phil enough to say.
And it's recorded.
I know. Oh, oh. So Davey, thank you for being very open, giving us a good story, and and everything else. So at this time, it's Phil's time. Phil's time. Yeah. Phil, you may ask one serious question, not related to the episode theme. Go.
All right. Usually I go like techie or nerdy question, but actually your story here lent well to a different type of question. So easy one. What does living a good life mean to you?
That's a very good question. Me living a good life, I think now for me, it probably means being healthy. Bodybuilding and all the things put me through a lot. The Navy put me through a lot, like your body, right? I think you learn more about how sacred your body is as you get older. So a good life to me would be healthy, to have a few core good friendships. And I would like to manifest that I would be financially independent, like financially free, so I'm not stressed about anything. That doesn't mean I have to live a lavish lifestyle, but just so that I don't have to worry about my mortgage being paid or that bills are having to get paid. And I think that stress, especially in today's economy, not having to worry about finances, having a good core group of friends. Shout out to my friend Nicole.
Hi, Nicole.
Hi, Nicole.
Yeah. And obviously my lovely fiance, Matthew.
Hi, Matthew.
Yeah. Having that core group of friends and just being healthy.
We love you, Dan. You're the best. Thank you.
Phil and Dan.
That's how I would say it too, probably. Phil
and Dan. Yeah.
Did you mumble something there? We didn't hear you.
Yeah, no, I don't think I did. I might have just had a tickle in my throat.
No, and I think maybe to add to that, staying engaged in the world is important, I think. And a lot of people try to retract as they get older and get off my lawn, spray people with hurricanes type of mentality. That's Dan. But I think staying engaged in the world, remember that, just because the youth is younger than you and on the internet and things like that, doesn't mean they're not people. And it's always an opportunity to mentor and raise other people. And frankly, it creates a little bit of more familial existence in this world that I think we're getting away from now. And yes, I'm making a little bit of a political statement, but it is not about politics.
I told you no politics.
That's why I didn't say it. It's kind of going down the rabbit hole of, I think we've lost the touch. And again, this is what this podcast is about, we've lost touch with humanity and what it means
Yes.
to be a real person. And that's why these stories are important to me. That is the genesis of this podcast for myself. And I know Dan shares that, is that we were getting in touch with people that we wouldn't normally reach out to all the time and have a discussion with, but we're showing that, hey, I don't care that you're a Democrat or Republican, or that you're 5 foot, or that you're, what are you, like 5'4.5"?
5'8".
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, you get my point, is that I think staying engaged in the world in a positive way, hold the door for people. I don't care if they say I'm a strong, independent woman. I'm still going to hold the fucking door for you, because that's what I do.
Is that even staying engaged in the world, or is that just maintaining good manners? Because I would almost argue some of those points that I don't think staying engaged in the world with the way that the world is going right now, I think that's depressing. I think like it's so we're so divided as a country that you have to care like who you're voting for and who your friends are voting for because of what's happening. And so I think like being in touch with the world feels depressing in a way, instead of just being a good person and instilling that and almost leading by example, like you were saying, I am a strong, independent woman and I don't need you to hold the door. However, I would like it if you did, so that way, like, it's just gentlemanly, old school, traditional manners.
Yep.
And there's nothing wrong with that. I hold the door for people. Matthew holds the door for me.
Yep.
Like, there's nothing wrong with that. But I don't know about staying engaged in the world. That feels.
I mean it more, I think, aligned with what you just said.
Okay.
It does. I don't mean you gotta read everything about all the politics going on and what's happening. What I mean is remembering that real people exist, and that kind of engagement. You're not a label. You're a person.
Right.
That's the engagement I'm looking for.
Yeah. So I loved your comments. I mean, I got 2 of those 3. The first one, I'm working on. I gotta get the healthy part, but the second and the third one, again, that's why I'm not working at 54. Good to go. My wife's not working. Hopefully, someone else won't be working here soon.
We'll see.
But but part of that, is what you just said. I didn't, even my time in the military, I didn't keep up with the world, because being a cryptologist and information warfare guy, I saw too much real shit, had to do too much real shit. But I do got one question for you, because again, it's healthy and everything else. And again, I don't know the full story. Is the Secretary of War, he just brought up they're going to start. He wants to start.
Oh, Hegseth?
Yeah, start testing for testosterone levels and everything like that. What are your thoughts on that? As again, someone who, who's healthy and everything else, had been in the military. I mean, we can't just build a robot, I guess is what I'm getting at. There's got to be other factors involved. So,
so I didn't listen to it. I didn't read it. I really stayed away from that stuff, because you only know what you know, and you only know what the media is going to tell you. So you really have to do your own research before like forming your own opinion on things. However, I did see the headline. Some people are really excited about it. I, as a woman, don't have a problem with testosterone. I know men do at a certain point, or even when they're younger, that could be an issue for a lot of things. My thing is, why is medical just not testing for that anyway? Like, when I was my last tour, I went to endocrinology and got all of my hormones done, because crazy things were happening in my body as a woman getting older and facing perimenopause and all the things there. So the Navy gladly sent me to endocrinology to get my levels tested. So, and I know that's not every command. I know every command is not great at that, but I don't understand why medical just wouldn't test your hormone levels anyway.
But I think they do. But I think kind of what I'm hearing, and again, you didn't say it, is that it goes back to that first statement you made, being healthy.
Yeah.
That's stopping the individuals from doing that themselves. I mean, I get basically 2 physicals every 6 months.
Yeah.
I do the VA and I do my regular PCM. I just found out my brother hasn't been to the doctor, like, for physical stuff like that. He does
Yeah.
routine, so what I'm a big proponent on is trying to get ahead of something as soon as I can.
Sure. Preventative maintenance.
Exactly, which is what I tell my kids and everyone. Your number one
Yeah.
life is maintenance. We learned in the Navy, PMS.
Right.
The reason
Always.
why you have maintenance, because we know things are going to go haywire. Why would you
Yeah.
with your life and in general, so
Yeah.
but
I think maybe.
Yeah, I tell Matthew all the time he needs to go to the doctor. I'm like, why haven't you gone to the doctor? But that's like over 20 years when you're made to do that. That's just part of your
Yeah.
routine. So now that's instilled in you, and so yeah, you want to be healthy. You want to make sure preventative maintenance that you're getting ahead of things. I think for me being in my 40s, I think I'm really healthy for doing all of the things and preventative maintenance and things like that. And I continue to go to the VA every year for my physical. And I tell Matthew all the time, like, you need to go, dude.
Yep.
Like, I don't know what that bump is on your neck, but you need to go.
Bye, Matthew.
Right. I'm like, bro, you need to go get that looked out. And he's like the same guy. Like he's your typical junior sailor in that way. Is like, doesn't hurt. I don't need to go. Like, I'm not dying. Like, I don't need to go. I'm like, you need to go.
Just go. All right. Hey, on that note, it's time to close shop. Davey, it's been good to talk to you. Hey, don't be a stranger. Give us a call, reach out, say hi once in a while. If you're ever out our way, we're glad to take you on the range and go put some lead down range and have fun.
Do it. Matthew has a ton of guns. He would love it.
We don't have any.
Oh, well, he has big ones and small ones.
No, he doesn't have any.
He doesn't have any.
Oh, he doesn't have any.
None of us own guns.
None of us.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. I threw them away at trash day.
No.
Exactly. Don't know what we turn them in. Whatever.
I gave all mine to Phil, so go after Phil.
It's funny. I donated mine to charity.
I donated to I love it. Well, I probably said something wrong there. My bad. Yeah.
No, you're good. We're just messing with you. We're just having fun with it. So.
All right. Hey, so we'll close up. We'll go ahead and clock. But thanks for the talk. It was awesome. And yes, you do have a story. It was great talking to you. I'll obviously cut all this part out on the tail end of our recording. All right, Dan, let's kick off our retro for Davey. Good video outtake with her. Great interview. Loved the conversation as normal. I think she was a little nervous at first, but quickly got over it, and definitely a conversationalist. And I love talking to her. A little bit of narrative around body positivity. A lot of narrative around her navigating let's say the difficulties of her commands that she was with as a female and as a short statured female on top of that. But, and let's just outright say it, an attractive short female, because that didn't benefit her in ways that people most likely would think. It probably was a detractor for her, made it a little bit more difficult for her.
Wow.
Yeah. That's it. That's all the episode that we're done.
We're done. No, first of all, I didn't find her attractive at all. Just joking.
It's because she didn't say she loved her show.
No, actually, I mean, there was to me, good conversation. Like she said, I don't have a story. I think she said that like 4 times. Very positive, role model. I think she's recognizing that now. And I mean, that's why, even some of the questions I had afterwards, kind of piece of things together. And even before, I mean, I think we have an individual who made it through life, did good. I'm saying made it through life, made it through a career in the Navy.
Yep.
And also, I guess what I'm getting is could have done so much more if, the Navy would have been there for her to a degree, and positive leadership, mentorships, and all that stuff that, was second for me. And again, her being a female, I think that probably contributed to it. Again, I'm not going to say that's 100% because I don't know, but I understand her point, and just having to deal with certain things. But even her self-reflection and everything she's saying now, where she said, when you asked her that, hey, what would you go back and say to yourself? And she was like, to play the game, to be more, in tune, did everything else. And I'm not going to take away from what she said when she said, she questioned everything and, needed to shut her mouth. I think that's part of it too. It's just a balance, and maybe when to do it, when not to do it is probably what I would have told her.
Yep.
More than, that's part of, playing the game. It's not necessarily playing the game. It's just, like she said, she wanted to win the battles and never won the war, but strategically, how do you win that war? I think a very good piece, good even flow, good conversation. I mean, we went, well into an hour and 45 minutes with no hesitation, had a little bit of joking and everything else. So overall, I think it was a good episode. And again, empowering. She's a very empowering individual, very self-aware, like I told her. I really liked it. Again, that's the type of stuff we want to get out and talk about.
Yeah, and she's definitely, I think you said it, the empowerment message is something I would definitely like to share with my daughter. It's somebody, Maddie, let's be clear, she's 5 foot. She's going to probably go through some of the same struggles, and it's good for her to hear messages like that. It's not to shut up, because I do know what she was saying when David said that. It's more about just think before you speak, and that's what she kind of clarified in the end. But that being pensive, being kind of acknowledging that you're going to struggle in different ways and being prepared to deal with it on her own level was very important and made her successful in what she did. I will kind of go back and foot stomp one thing that I've never heard it say that way. She talked about the calmness in the routine. And I love that statement just alone, because it almost sums up a lot of my life, is that although I've been expressed that I have OCD and that I overthink things and blah blah blah. And that's fine. I can take it. But the bottom line to me is that there is calm and routine for me, man. My anxiety is quelled by the fact that I can get up in the morning, have a cup of coffee, and do the same thing every time, and the lack of change makes me not have to overthink things. It's when those things get upturned or moved or shifted that things become a little bit more stressful for me. And although I think you said it about yourself, I think we both thrive in chaos. Part of the reason why you thrive in chaos, and you made this point, was the checklists. And in this case, thriving in chaos is because the routine that you've created makes it easy to succeed in that routine or in that world.
Yeah, it's second nature at that point in time. I mean, it's an extension of, the mental is just, same thing with physical. The mental, it's an extension of what you are, what you do, again, that's why, even my kids and, one of sometimes will be like, you just look like it's easy. And I'm like, well, it is in my mind.
Yeah.
You guys are all running around doing everything. What I'm seeing is, I almost feel like I mean, so what you just said, I mean, same way for me. I mean, I think that's the plus and minus. I know when I get agitated, it's because things are out of routine, or, not even just routine, but time management. Say we're going to do something. Yeah, it is, but you know what I mean? It's, I put it more on the person. That's why, what I try to do is put it on the person. Say, okay, what time do you want to leave?
Yeah. And that becomes accountability as well.
It does, but then, when you're past it, you're like, you know what? Gave you the opportunity.
Again, running things, consistency, accountability, responsibility. Yeah, it's all there. And maybe one other thing that kind of hit me on this episode that I really appreciated differently, and I didn't say it necessarily in this, is most of what I've seen from therapy, and I got a small sample size on this, I've not really appreciated it, but what I've seen from what Devi got out of her therapy was immensely positive.
What was her name you just said again?
Devi. Did I say it wrong?
Yes, you did. You said Devi.
Yeah.
He worked with her.
Whatever. Yeah, that's how it's spelled. Spell your name right.
Well, I did bring that up to her. She said the other person had spelled wrong. No, agree and understood. And I mean, I think that's the silver lining here is, yes, I don't think she really wanted to leave the Navy.
I heard that with the EA comment. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean in general. But she was at that point where it was the Navy or her and Sandy, or Sandy, whatever. Sandy, excuse me. but she has come to grips with things. I mean, she's early 40s, embracing life, fiance, moving forward. And again, like we put on her artwork, no regrets. She's highlighted that. Down to, hey, when I make a decision, I go all out. So, I mean,
yep.
I think she's going to do that across the board. I check her, to be honest with you, again, kind of like talking to others we have, very humbled, and appreciative. I mean, definitely, had a good time with us joking around.
Give it right back to us.
That, and, trying to do things. I mean, still need to hear a big, loud verbal that, thanks, Dan and Phil. But anyways, that's beside the point. So
I'll do it first. Thanks, Dan and Phil.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
No, again, great episode. I enjoyed it. I was happy, that she actually decided to join us, even though she didn't feel like she had a story. And I think in the end, maybe she feels a little different, hopefully. And if you don't, Davey, fuck, I did it again. I'm going to record that one over.
Davey, I know your name's Davey. Apparently Phil doesn't.
If you don't, Davey, you do have a story. Yeah. We just told it.
Well, no, better yet, you just told it.
Yeah.
All we did was go over some things. And what I did like is, I think there's more there too. And, so I think she realizes that. And I think, and again, we'll reach back out to her, but I think, like you just said, it was good for her. I'm kind of hoping it was good for her, like Selena's was good for her.
Yeah, fair.
Covering this, everything else. I mean, and here's the bad thing. I don't, my wife was in the military, so I can relate to a lot of things that, military women have endured and what drives them nuts. I mean, you heard her made the comment that, people look at me and don't think I was in the military.
Yeah.
Offline, when we were talking to her, we were talking about military discounts, and she goes, she brought up something I found funny because my wife does the same thing, and they were at a shooting range. She said, "Hey, do you do military discounts?" And the guys look at her boyfriend, who's never been in the military, and she's like, "No, over here, buddy.
Yeah.
I'm the one with the retired ID."
Yeah.
So I mean, it's that. Unfortunately, it still tells you there's a stereotype out there.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't say double standard. I'd say stereotype where people are still going, and again, to your point, here's this 5 foot attractive young woman. There's no way she was in the military.
Yeah.
And like you said, she was a beast in a good way.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what I like is the 3 things, she kind of threw at the end there that she wants to focus on and everything else. So, I mean, again, you're better at all this. Was the sins of our past, with her mother and everything else.
Yeah.
I think she is correcting what she's feel, is wrong or has been wrong, and living her life to the best she can, the full she can, enjoying it. So
yeah, well, it's a sad story. I think the outcome was positive for her, and she won't tell you any different. Honestly, she's I hate to say this, but she said the world's a better place.
Yep.
And that's unfortunate. You have to have that, but it is a signal of power, honestly, that you can grow from something like that and still make yourself successful. Yep. So kudos on you, Davey.
Yeah, and I mean, again, just for you, Davey. Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. So.
Hey, so to our audience, feel free to reach out. The episode comments and email, catalystcoms26@gmail.com. You have any thoughts on the show? Let us know. We really like to hear them. Come talk to us. Come be a guest.
Yeah, remember, keep it real.
Yep, remember, it's about the destination, it's about the journey, not the destination.
You messed up your own line. Wow.
Nice.
Bye.
A look in time, a trip down the rabbit